Welcome to the Maltepes Show. I'm here with the one and only Damon Feldman. How's your day going, my brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. We
Absolutely.
have a lot to get into, but first tell us about what you do and a little bit about yourself.
A guy that took his dream, made it into a business, never quit, never surrendered, had a vision, worked hard at it, you know, became successful during the worst times of my life. That's who I am.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your business. Tell us about those, that vision you had in which you created something out of nothing, and that fighter mentality in which
Yeah.
we were just talking about this off air.
No doubt, man. I was a fighter since I was younger. Me and my brother. My mom got injured. She was quadriplegic in a wheelchair, and I couldn't do anything else but either quit or fight. So took the idea of fighting, kept fighting every day of my life since I was a kid. And not understanding what happened to my mom until I was older. That's when it really hit me and made me depressed. And you know, that's where my downfall started 9 years ago. Drinking. I didn't know I was depressed. All that. Long story short, I took my boxing career and made it a business. I was a fighter. I wanted to be world champion. Went 9-0, undefeated. Got injured outside the ring. Then I had to figure, after I got injured, I could have continued, but I ended up fighting every day with my dad. Was dogging, like dogs. It just wasn't. I lost the interest, right? So I basically had to figure out what's next for me. I wasn't college. I'm not a school guy. Everything I learned was from the streets. But when I say streets, basically, street smart, man. Just hustling, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to look someone in the eye and be real. And I took my boxing and made it a dream in my career, man. That's all I know is boxing.
So you started boxing at what age?
I was like 5 years old.
5 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
Wow. And then when did you stop?
I stopped. I got injured outside the ring when I was like, 18 years old, 19 years old, and I went 9-0, and it was a fast career, But I was a gym rat. I was in the boxing gym every day. 5, 6, 7 days a week. I just love boxing, man. Boxing was like, got me to get my aggression out. It got me, it was therapy to me. I was going to those gyms. I was looking to go to the gym because I knew I'd be happy after that. After I'd punch someone in the face or just do a great workout, or get punched in the face myself. It helped my life out.
So you grew up in a family of boxing in general. Tell us about your dad. Tell us about your brother. Tell us about that relationship and how you started boxing at the age of 5, and it's become a part of your life ever since.
Yeah, sure. Well, my dad was sort of like a legend in boxing, and says all kinds of Hall of Fame things. Former boxer, trained 6 world champions. My brother was a former fighter. We hit heads a lot, but we grew up. One thing about it, me and my brother always stuck together, basically growing up because we weren't separated. Even if I lived with a certain family, he came with us. You know what I mean? We were together. Two black guys raised us, and the whole black community basically raised us. And I'm not afraid to say it. The African American community was my family. And they still are, and it's all I knew, right? And when I say that, the fighters, when my mom got injured and was a quadriplegic in a wheelchair, they were the people that raised me. My dad's fighters helped me out because my dad would work, hustle, and these guys were at my house because my house was a training camp. So basically Frank the Animal Fletcher, Anthony Two Gun Fletcher, both guys who were basically on death row after taking care of us. They got into some stuff, but these guys loved us, and they helped us. And being around that fighter mentality, man, it made me never quit, never surrender, want to go after a dream. My dreams got crushed when I got hurt in boxing because I wanted to be world champion. I was undefeated, so I ended up stopping undefeated. So I can always say the rest of my life I was an undefeated fighter, right? And in life, I didn't let life's defeats, like different things that happened to me in life, stop me. I hit brick walls and kept moving.
So you talked about getting hit with a brick wall and, dreams getting shattered. You talked about when you were about 18, 19 years old, right? How did those things, those, I guess you can call them defeats or however you want to interpret it, change you and your mind state and your mentality going forward into producing something positive, into being successful?
Well, it's the L's that make you better. It's the L's that make you fight harder. And when you hit those brick walls, when I say not legitimately hitting a brick wall, but the brick walls in life is how someone learns in life to, you're either going to fight harder or you're going to quit. And there's no way I'm quitting. You know, I never thought about that quitting. I couldn't quit for my kids. Then I showed them they can quit. You know, I won't quit in life because I saw my mother, who basically painted a picture with her a paintbrush in her mouth because she couldn't move. She quadriplegic from there down. And if I saw a woman doing that, how the fuck would I quit in life? You know what I mean? There's no way. I didn't know what quitting was, man.
So it built your mind state and built everything going forward. So
Yeah, you have to stay. Yeah, exactly. Your mind stays. You just said it. It's all, everything's in the mind. It's easy to quit. It's easy. We were talking about that earlier. It's easy to say, oh, let's just quit. I would try something else. Then how are you going to know if you couldn't have succeeded on it if you quit on it? Everybody, the thing about everything in life now, everybody quits. That's why people are
99%
depressed and all.
everyone quits. They gotta. You have 100% certainty of losing or not succeeding if you quit.
1,000,000%, man.
Just keep going. That's the biggest thing I always say. So we talked about your brother and you, and no matter what, you guys were always strong together. How has that relationship now moved now that you guys are older?
Nah, we're good. You know what I mean? Like, we went through our brick wall, tried to work together. We are, you know, in some way working together now. You know, we support each other, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's so awesome to see what he did. I basically, besides WWE, I own the sports entertainment market because I'm the WWE of boxing, basically. But you know, we're real fights too, though. You know, we have a great ex-Rumble celebrity boxing's working. My brother, listen, he's taken over the combat sports world, man. I mean, it's worldwide now. And, you know, a lot of guys, you know, like Dana White, stuff like that, they don't want to understand that someone else that was a real fighter. You know, White was never a real fighter. You know, he might have sparred in the gym. He wasn't a real boxer. Like, they come off, and a lot of these guys talk like tough guys and like they're boxers. I don't care how much money or how rich, how successful they think they are. Yeah, he's very smart, but he wasn't a fighter. You know what I mean? Like,
What do you think of Dana White entering the boxing field?
what's
Because
that?
Dana White, what do you think of him entering the boxing sport?
Oh, boxing sport? Well, you know, White's very smart. I mean, it's going to be good for boxing for the upper guys that aren't signed and that are willing to, because they have Saudi Arabia money behind them. So, you know, it's going to be good. I don't know how long it's going to last because it's different than MMA. Like, you know, these are real fighters. There's two different demographics of fighters. Boxers have a demographics. MMA fighters are demographics. He's good at the MMA world. I can't say what he's good at boxing. It's not guaranteed. An MMA fighter gets knocked out by every boxer they fight in the chin. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different world. I don't know. I'm really sort of on the fence about it. Do I think it's good for the game and overall? It's media. It's a publicity looking stunt. You know what I mean? I think it could work possibly.
Why has boxing not the same as it was before? Before it was everything, right? AC, Vegas, Mike
Yeah.
Tyson. It was the sport that everyone loved and cherished, and then it feels like it took a little bit of a turn in the last whatever many years, 20 years. Why is that? And do you think we can return back to that greatness that boxing once had?
I think it has the possibility of doing it. Like, you know, I have a boxing league. We do different boxing things. But things like my brother Dave, he's doing bare knuckles. So it's outside of boxing, but it's still giving MMA guys and boxers a chance. The whole problem is there's so many sports out there. It's just so many different things going out. When they used to do fights at the Spectrum, I believe, like in the 70s, I heard they used to do 20,000 people every single time. You know, you do a Jack Dempsey fight, 100,000 people show up. That's because there wasn't really any other sports. Boxing was the main sports at one time. Now it's not the main sport. You know, MMA's there. You know, there's baseball fans, hockey fans. You know, hockey's even fighters. But you know, just because of all the other sports, it just took a little, you know, step back.
Yeah, market share gets split up. Now, we also have celebrity boxing, in which you're a part of, right? Tell us about how you started that idea and how you completed that vision.
Well, honestly, you know, so how it was, you know, I got injured in an accident, you know, outside the ring. I was trying to figure out what I was doing. I was sitting around for a year or two, and I was trying like all these boxing aerobic things, and which I'm bringing back now, the Celebrity Fight Club. I'm real excited about that, and bare knuckle fitness training we're going to start doing. So basically, I was on a radio show, Q102, and I was being interviewed by Glenn Kalina, a good guy, and Valerie Knight, and Diego Ramos was there. He was like one of their star DJs, and we were talking about fighting and all that. I said, man, what do we got to do to get you in a celebrity boxing match? And I don't understand why I even said celebrity boxing match. I had no clue, man. There was no celebrity boxing before that. So I said, celebrity boxing. And he said, man, I would love to fight. He didn't say celebrity boxing. He said, I'd love to fight. I said, well, who would you want to fight? He goes, I'd like to fight the weatherman, John Bellaris. And all of a sudden, all these calls started coming in. I said, wow, okay, let me try. And I ended up calling Bellaris, and he said yes. And it was made, man. It was like, then we did that match. And from there, you know, I got a call from Dick Clark Productions, Sandy Grossman, went out to Los Angeles. They wanted me on board, but it wasn't going to be my event. I sort of came on as like sort of like coordinator, a little bit like, you know, advisor. It just wasn't my thing, but, you know, I worked the deal out with them, did the 2 fights, and I moved on from there. I ended up, kept it going, just did my own thing, and just build it, man. And like, I've had everybody from, you know, Vanilla Ice has fought in celebrity boxing to William the Refrigerator Perry, Rodney King, James Buster Douglas, Roy Jones Jr., Sugar Shane Mosley. I mean, I've had some major names. What
is your favorite fight that you've had, real quick?
Honestly, it had to be Lamar Odom fought Aaron Carter, because that was the kickoff, the relaunch of it, right? Because the referee was Chuck Liddell, and the commentator was Ice-T. That's my guy, right? So basically, that just really took it off and made it like, damn, man, there's a new era of boxing, and it's entertainment, and it's celebrity boxing. And that basically just took me to like, man, what am I going to do? But then the thing was putting a good team together. I have a good team now, but it was like the team that's going to bring in the finances, bring in the TV deals. That's what I'm still working on. I'm looking to get the right marketing guy, to get the right people on board, to take it to another level. And I have good people, but it's just, it has to be I have to do it more of a bigger reach. And it's getting there, but that was my favorite fight. Then we ended up doing Al B. Sure, the singer, fought for us. Black China fought for us. And I did the first ever like AI match, metaverse match with Roy Jones Jr. He fought this big guy, NDO champ, a big internet star. Yeah, and it was pretty wild. We thought it was going to be a lot different than it was, but it was interesting. It was a little before its time, but, you know, it's still in the library, and I'm hoping to sell it big someday.
So, when it comes to building that team that you talked about, these are things behind the scenes that no one gets to see, right? The public doesn't get to see. There's so many different moving parts, left, right, up, down, all over the place. How hard is it to create something like that behind the scenes? Because most people, they see the finished product. That's all they see.
Oh, yeah.
They want to critique it. They always have something to say. But they don't really understand what really goes on behind the scenes and what it takes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, man, it's a fight from day one to try. The number one thing is you got to find the finances. Make sure you have the right funding for it. And it has to be the right event, because you have to put, this has to be the lights, the cameras, smoke. It's easy to do, but this all comes down to the funding, right? So you get the funding, get the TV company together, all that. And it's a fight just to put everything together, from the fighters, the local ticket sellers, the celebrities being part of the event, because I have celebrities all part of the event now, not just fighting. That's what makes it a spectacle. So, yeah, it's a fight nonstop till I get there.
It's who you are.
I'm a fighter, man. I honestly, It's funny you just said that because I never looked at it until I just talked to you about it. I'm a fighter in the ring, out of the ring, in life, and I want to help people too, man. I want to help people know that their dream is honestly right in front of them. It's just if you quit, you're never going to know if you could have achieved it. And honestly, it's not going to happen overnight. No one's giving you a handout. You have to fight for it. And if you fight for it, you're going to achieve your goal and your dream, and you're going to be a happy motherfucker at the end. Excuse my language, but I'm just being honest with you. Yeah, the cursing sort of like brings it out a little bit. You're a nice guy, so I don't feel weird cursing in front of yourself.
I curse all the time.
Yeah.
But they say that people that curse the most are the most honest.
It's what?
Are the most honest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, listen, of course, I'm a promoter. I'm a hustler, but I don't bullshit. I don't lie. You either like my deals or you don't like my deals. There's no sense to lie, and I have what I have. I'm set my own ways. You either like the way I do it or you don't, and if not, I go somewhere else.
Yeah. So we talked about celebrity boxing. We talked about boxing sport in general. But you mentioned one thing that I want to touch upon. You talked about people's dreams, people quitting, and mental health. Mm-hmm. So dive into what you're doing with mental health.
Yeah, definitely, man. We have our second annual mental health awareness fight night. Real excited at Harrah's on June 14th, hosted by the one and only Ric Flair. And what I'm real excited about this event is, last event we helped these two mothers who I was very good friends with, and their sons, actually committed suicide. And it was, it made me think because, they were drinking and they were suffering inside. And, those mothers got to live the rest of their life understanding, man, what did I do? Because they were single mothers, you know what I mean? And I was very good friends with them. So we did that event out, and I said, you know what? I'm someone who suffers from mental health awareness, and honestly, with no bullshit, 99 probably 0.9% of America suffers from mental health awareness, because somewhere in your life you're gonna say, damn, I shouldn't have done that. You should have done it, because it does come down to mental health awareness and understanding things. And it sucks because, man, I wish I knew what I knew now when I was 18 years old. And sure, I'd probably be worth $1 billion and all that, but as a person, I would have been a better father. I would have been a better husband. I would have been a better boyfriend, just a better person in life if I understood that mental health is no joke and you got to take it serious.
Yeah. Experience is the greatest teacher of all.
Absolutely.
That's what I always say. Experience.
Yeah, man.
You can't fake it. You can't teach it. You can only experience it, and that's the only way you learn. Who are some of the best fighters you've seen?
Or I've promoted?
Personally.
Jake Paul. No, come on. Honestly, well, without a doubt, Floyd Mayweather's the best defensive fighter, I think, of all time. But there was guys like Sugar Ray Robinson. I only saw a couple tapes of him when I was. But you got so many good fighters. I mean, Chavez was good. Real smart guy. Even Melvin Taylor was good here in Philly. But then you had like Ali. They say he was a great fighter. He was a smart fighter. He didn't do like a lot of different feints and things that made him. Like I know him, and they say, "Oh, Ali and Mayweather, you can't even compare. Ali is way better." But I guess it's all the era too, who the fighters were. It's all about the era. And I mean, I guess who's my favorite fighter? I mean, obviously Tyson. I mean, you love Mike because he was a smart fighter.
Everything about it.
Yeah, it's just you just like him as a. How do you not like Mike Tyson? You know what I mean? Just thinking all that story, all this stuff that guy went through. But everybody says what he went through. In reality, yeah, he might have tough, but dude, at 18 years old, he was a multimillionaire. So what did he really go? How tough was it? You know what I mean? Like he's been a multimillionaire since he was 18 years old, and no matter what, when he said he had no money, he could do anything he wants in the world to make money.
He still had the biggest brand.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So we talked about best fighters. We talked about favorite fighters, but you mentioned Jake Paul. What do you think of the whole Jake Paul, Logan Paul, in today's age of boxing and everything that's going on surrounding it? What do you make of that situation?
Well, honestly, timing's everything, and timing. What I do is they're doing what I do. You know what I mean? Basically, in reality, they had the smartness. They had them when money people and people that have money understand. If you get involved in boxing, you could actually make $1 billion, really, if you do it the right way. Because these guys, they're both worth 400 or 500 million without a doubt, because they're smart guys. They did it, and they're not fighting a lot of fights. Yeah, Jake has 11 fights. The other guy has 2 fights. He's 0-2, and he's a WWE star because of boxing. Because of boxing, he's a WWE star making millions. And these guys, they fake the world in boxing, basically. They outsmarted boxing. They did it their way, and, basically, sort of celebrity boxing. But every time they fight, it only helps my company, because I always have to look up on the internet celebrity boxing. I see news, see what they're talking about. Jake Paul, Logan Paul's name comes up. KSI,
It only helps.
I'm a trademark company, so it helps me. You know what I mean? So it's good.
What did you think of the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
Honestly, I don't think it was good for boxing at all. It was good for guys like me. I mean, it's entertainment, but I mean, it was good finances. I mean, they made millions and millions. They show that you don't have to. It's the 2 greatest fighters of all time fighting each other is doing less ratings than them. It shows boxing's different. Celebrity boxing's where it's at now, and that's where we're going.
What separates the greats of boxing to the middle of the pack? Is it a mind state? Is it because a lot of people sometimes, once the money comes, things change,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
They're not as hungry, they're not in the gym, they don't have that same intensity. What separates the greats from the middle?
Well, the thing is, most fighters are like inner city guys. Or like most fighters fighting are African American guys. You know what I mean? And getting a white guy here and there to fight, the black guy's gonna knock him out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest here. Like, you have to get into the North Philly gyms to train and stuff like that. And some of these guys, they're not used to the lifestyle, right? So they fight and get paid big money, and they don't know how to invest. It's just like any sports, really. It doesn't matter, white, black, anything. It really comes down to who's advising you, or if you're going to keep, because it all ends. You know what I mean? Like, the only good thing about like a Canelo, he's been doing it for years. I mean, he's really at the end of his road, man. He's going to get beat in the next couple fights. Bad too. I hate to say it, but it's true. You can only stay that good because, yeah, your body's working, but your mind's not going to keep working like that. But what motivates him? Obviously, the money motivates him. But if Canelo's already probably he's probably almost a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, the guy, how much more can he do? How much can he get motivated? That's where guys have to find something else to do. Like, it's really important building your own brand, like I'm doing now, because I'm building my own personal brand with my podcast, my fitness brand, and I still have the fights. And you got to build all that, and that's what comes to the empire. But fighters, I just think once they make the big money, the sad thing about it is you know how many world champions have came through Philadelphia, and it's sad because you got Steph Fulton, right? He's a 2-time world champion, right? And nobody knows who he is. And I love that dude. You know why I love him? Because 6 years ago, when I hit that brick wall, got out of jail, stupid mistake, I was taking Ubers. He picks me up at media. So he goes, yeah, man, are you just celebrity boxing? I was like, yeah, man. He said, I'm Steph Fulton. Get out, man, because I knew his name. And we started talking. He becomes 2-time world champ. Celebrity boxing blows up. And I'd like to, revisit that with him. I ran into him once, but, you got Danny Garcia. You got, who else is the world champion? The crazy thing, you know who the world champions are in Philly. Boots Ennis. Boots. I mean, Boots is good, man. Now that's a guy that's on the level of Floyd Mayweather, as long as he stays focused. I mean, his whole family is they're fight legends in Philadelphia. And, yeah, man, it's just, as far as getting the motivations, probably after they make the money, they lose the interest.
So if you had to name 5 people that were crucial to your success,
Yeah.
who would you name?
Fighters or just in life?
Anything in life.
Well, my kids, my dad, my brother, my mom, definitely. And well, I'm going to say one more, but it's really the black community, the African American community is the reason I can look you in the eye right now, and it always gets me emotional. You know, so that's the 5 type of people that help my life out, and you know, makes me appreciate life every single day in God, man. I pray to God every day, and I believe there is a God. I'm not a weirdo, but when I went to jail, stupid fucking mistake, and I do anything in the world just to take it back, you know what I mean? But I prayed every single day, man. When I knew I made that mistake, I was like, there's only one way I could do this. And I actually wrote my book in jail with a little pencil and paper, and someone came out, this guy, Sporty Smith, put the book together, and now I'm getting my next step, you know, thanks to George Addison. We're doing the 17th minute. So I got my 15 minutes of fame being a boxer, 16 minutes starting celebrity boxing, and now we're doing the 17th minute film. So we're just hustling. But they're the 5 type of people.
How were you able to go to prison and then bounce back? What is it like in there? What is it like coming out?
Yeah.
Tell us about that whole
Yeah.
process and situation.
Honestly, man, I was doing the crazy fight of all time. I had Sugar Ray Leonard Jr. going to fight Marvin Hagler Jr. on the 30-year anniversary of our father's fight. I raised the $1.5 million for the fight. They gave me an advancement. I had to pay it back, but it was going to be on HBO, right? I had this greatest opportunity in my life, but I was suffering, so my mental health awareness wasn't there. It sounded good, it looked good, but I hit the brick wall, was involved with a relationship I shouldn't have been involved with, and I was drinking nonstop. And God made me go to jail, man. You know, God put me in jail. That's the way I always believe. And I'm not talking some psycho weirdo. I really believe this. I believe I went to jail to become successful, become a better person in life. And when I went to jail, you know, because I had a DUI before, a stupid situation with this girl, unbelievable. And that made me stronger. I woke up and I was like, damn, man, I didn't know. I was like, I'm really fucking depressed, but also I know I fucked up in life. I mean, damn, this is crazy. Like, so I had to go through those days, every single day I knew I messed up, and I knew I had to change it, because if I don't change, my children, people believe in me, are going to say, well, this guy really basically quitting fucking life, and I'm not quitting. So I proved in there I wasn't going to quit. So every day I wrote my goals down, prayed, and just basically was focused. I got so fucking motivated, so determined. I got so successful in jail, because when I say successful, I came out of jail and I was so tunnel vision. I was just on my way to my goals. Like, I had to do it. You know what I mean? There was no telling me. I basically borrowed $50 off my attorney and his sweat jacket. And when I got out of jail, it was freezing out, December 1st, 9 years ago. And I just went forward, man. I tried everything from doing beauty battles to the best makeup artist events, to made me go back to celebrity boxing. I said, there's a future here. And that's it, man. I fought for it every single day. But I would tell anybody in the world, there's no time to fuck up in life. I took 13 months of my life away from my kids, people, my career, and my life. I gave up. But it really gave me a new direction, but also rehab myself, because I never drank again. I have not drank since that night that situation happened, and I never will again. Yeah, man. And, you know, I'm not over congrats, but I appreciate you, man. But looking at you, man, like, you're a hustler, man. You know, you're doing your thing. Yeah, hopefully you learn from just a little thing I'm talking about, because honestly, there's so many goals, so many dreams you can achieve, so many great things you can achieve. But you just gotta know that you can't fuck around in life. You just can't. Nowadays, you can't fuck around in life. It just never works.
Well, you talked about God, right, and how you prayed every day and how it was big for you in your return. Listen, I'm a big believer in God, and Greek Orthodox, right, Christian. Yep. And to me, everything happens for a reason. Yeah. So how big was God in your relationship in terms of coming out of prison and striving to be better. Was that your crutch in which, like, you said you're struggling with mental health, but that was like the backbone which you could grab onto?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And it made me, I prayed to God every day. I always did pray to God, but I was going down the hill, man. Like when you drinking and you're depressed, because see, sometimes people are depressed and they're drinking. They don't know they're depressed. They're just drinking, thinking they're having a good time because that's when they feel a little better when they're drinking. But it's really not feeling better. You're actually killing yourself. That's what you're doing. And when you're depressed, it makes it worse and worse, and you don't understand it. Then you make those mistakes. There's no really turning back. You got to pay the price, and it's a price. I basically advise everyone to not make that mistake, man. Drinking, there's a way of learning it, but God, there's a God up there, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I promise, I swore, God, I will never drink again. Please give me this chance. I know I had to pay my dues, and I had to spend those months every single day. There were the longest days of my life, man, eating the worst food. But I was able to write my goals, dreams. It made me understand life because that was my therapy, man. I never really talked to a therapist. I was thinking about going to talk to a therapist, and I may, because it's good for your life, but it's good to talk to people just in life. And if you have no communication's everything in life, And I hope I'm not talking too much, but as far as, God, man, I believed in God, and God believes in me now because, I'm not talking weird, man, but God believes in me because I promise I would never drink again. How many people could say that? And I'm not being arrogant. 99.9% everybody went back to drinking. I said I cannot drink again. I've never, ever drank another drink in 9 years.
You talked about therapy, right? And I talked about this with my friend. He owns a restaurant in Cherry Hill called Norma's Cherry Hill. Norma's restaurant. It's a Mediterranean restaurant. You know about
Nice.
it?
No,
It's good. It's Mediterranean. It's very good food.
Stop
Lebanese.
over there.
Yeah, very good. Friend Elias, I was talking to him on the phone, and we talked about therapy, and we talked about how having friends or community and gathering around the table of food and just having dinner and talking to each other,
Yeah.
that's a form of therapy.
Absolutely, man. Sometimes you ever go by yourself. Like when I'm by myself, I'm always thinking. Like I love playing like my music and hypes me up, makes me think in life. I hit the gym every single day. That's my therapy. But being around people, it is good to be around people sometimes. You're able to talk goals, dreams. You get ideas. But yeah, man, it's important to have a good support system in life, but also know that if you don't have them, you could fight, you could do it yourself.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. What are 3 things in which someone was out there that you want to give advice to? They're striving for their dreams or they're in a tough situation. What are 3 things you'd tell them?
Well, number one thing is if someone has problems or say they're in a spot where, man, they're stuck, like there's walls all around, they can't do anything mentally, right? And they're suffering. Listen, there's somebody out there that will listen. And that's where we're starting our mental health awareness summit, where we're going to be giving people the opportunity to speak and come out and know. I want these people to know for tips that there's people out there that were like you, but you fight. You got to know that everybody has to understand there's no time to quit in life. There's just absolutely no time. There's really no time to just sit around. Like, yeah, I rest once in a while. People rest. You got to know that you have to get out and fight. You have a support system. There are people out there that care, but basically it's going to be your family, most likely, and some people around there because everybody's out to do their own thing. So that's basically it, man. And as far as goals, just understand. You set your goals, write your goals down, and go after it. Just when you say you're going to do it, make sure the word delivery is in your mind. You have to deliver, and that's the way you succeed in life, because you have to know you can't go start something and say, it's not going to work. Even no matter what, you just can't do it. You just got to keep fighting and understand life and the world is a fight world now. You have to fight. I'd recommend everybody go into boxing because boxing training, you don't have to get punched in your fucking face. You can, again, I keep cursing. I'm sorry, man.
Keep
Honestly,
cursing.
because it
Curse.
irritates
It's
me
true.
because you got to fight. And people, if you go to boxing, boxing is the game changer. Now people go, oh, go to jail, you can do this. Dude, fucking box is going to change your life. Your dad was a boxer. Do you box?
I just go to the gym. I don't box, but
Well,
yeah,
you
I'll
train.
go to the gym. Yeah,
Yeah, but see,
I
boxing,
do some work with my dad and stuff.
just knowing how to throw your punch, it just helps you box. What's the number one thing Trump does? Boxing. One of the most successful guys in the world. Everybody's boxing. Everybody knows boxing is the way to help yourself with depression, get your aggression out, and it's a motivator. Just training will change your life.
You feel better. You not only feel better, you get the stress out, right? You get the anger out. You get the depression out. You're healthier. It's a high intensity workout. Plus, you learn how to defend yourself.
1,000,000%.
You become capable. Now you refine your skills. So that's why I love the boxing, but it's a game changer, like you said. But we're talking about boxing right now. You talked about opening up a boxing gym, I believe. Yeah. Talk about this a little bit.
So right now I'm at a gym in Jabs in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, where Shannon, she's helping us out. We're going to do a boxing program there, but I'm ultimately looking to make this into like a franchise, maybe. The Celebrity Fight Club is our new thing because it's under Celebrity Boxing, and I'm all about building my brand up, my personal brand, and again, showing people to keep going and motivate. I know I can put this together, and I'm the only one that's going to do it. I can't depend on anybody else. So yeah, we have a great brand in the boxing, where I'm going to be training people part-time, and I want to do this because it's good for me too. I need to stay busy nonstop, and that's the only way you don't get depressed is when you stay busy.
Well, you have no time to, right?
What's that?
You have no time to.
Oh,
You're
no,
always nonstop
absolutely.
thinking, moving, boom, boom.
Absolutely.
Keep on going, keep on moving. And one thing I always say is the hardest thing to do is act. The rest, just hold that tenacity.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing is for people to actually take that step into something and not just get hit by the first obstacle and quit. We talked about this a little bit before the podcast too, but do it. Whatever you're thinking about, do it and keep going, have that tenacity. So what else is next for Damon Feldman?
Right now, just really building my brand up. I'm looking to get some a couple new business guys on board and to take this to where it should be, and it should be like a national tour, TV program we're working on, and just work on my personal brand and keep hopefully motivating people to never quit, never surrender, and go after their goals.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Damon. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing, man. I'm proud of you. You're a young guy.
I'm just trying.
Even watching you see a guy like you, man, you're doing your thing, your own show, building it, and like we talked earlier, just keep going because it's gonna work.
Thank you, Damon. Where can we find you on social media? Where can we find Celebrity Boxing? Where can we find all of these different things?
Yeah, all over Celebrity Boxing 1, Damon Celebrity Boxing on Instagram, official celebrityboxing.com.
Perfect. All right, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Let us know if you'd like to see Damon back on the podcast again, because I'd love to have him. Let me know what you guys think, and thank you so much for watching The Maltepes Show.
Oh, man.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot for having me.